Hello, 1, 2.
This is TVM. TVM delivers breaking stories, global headlines, and the moments that matter. From exciting sports action to exclusive local events, we keep you connected. Celebrate our culture, people, and voices with powerful documentaries and inspiring stories. Experience premium entertainment, from trending music to urban lifestyle and beyond. Grow your spirit with life-changing messages and uplifting perspectives. Lead the way with bold conversations, fresh ideas, and thought-provoking shows. Wherever you are, whenever you want, watch TVM on all your devices. TVM, your world, your network.
Hello, welcome to TVM's Metro Sports, another beautiful edition. I am Fred O'Neill. This is a show where we discuss football. We give you the sporting stories, as it were, across the globe. And yes, it is still the international break. And of course, the end of the international break per se today. And club football returned for those who love club football. But so much happened during the international break for football, the World Cup qualifiers and all that. We'll bring you up to speed with those stories. But first off, let's give you other sports news, because Israeli gymnasts, including reigning world floor champion Artem Dokupiat, will not compete at the upcoming World Artistic Gymnastics Championships after a host nation, Indonesia, denied them entry. Now, the Indonesia government refused to issue visas to the Israeli delegation, citing the country's ongoing military operations in Gaza. The decision effectively bars the athletes from participating in the championships, which begin on Sunday and will run until 25 October. On Tuesday, the Court of Arbitration for Sport rejected requests from the Israel Gymnastics Federation (IGF) for urgent provisional measures. The IGF said it was deeply disappointed by the CAS decision. While a first appeal against the ruling was rejected for a lack of jurisdiction, the hearing for a second appeal will not hold before the World Championships start on Sunday. The IGF wanted CAS to compel the International Gymnastics Federation to take the necessary measures that guarantee Israel participation in the championships, or to move or to cancel the event, which runs until 25 October. A CAS statement said the FGI argued it had no prerogatives in the issuing of entry visas, and the Indonesian government's decision not to grant the visas falls outside the competence of the organization. And now to boxing matters. Joseph Parker sees a victory over Fabio Wardley as the gateway to fights against Alexander Usyk and Moses Itama. The winner of Parker's October 25 clash with Wardley will be the mandatory challenger for the WBO heavyweight title that Usyk, the undisputed champion, holds. Usyk would have to fight the Parker-Wardley victor or vacate that WBO belt. If Usyk doesn't take that bout, the winner will then be upgraded to full world champion, with rising star Moses Itama already the #1 challenger in the WBO ratings. Wardley showed how dangerous he could be in his last fight against Justice Oni. When languishing on the cards, he still managed to unearth a one-punch finish in their 10th round. But Parker is adamant that he is more severe threat to Wardley, and said, and I quote, "I'm going to be a lot more agile with a lot more speed, a lot more movement, and pick the shots where I can land in a way that's important. I feel like it's going to be a night filled with power, speed, and drama." End of quote. And now to tennis, Britain's Emma Raducanu struggled physically in a three-set loss to world number 219 Zhu Lin in the first round of the Ningbo Open in China. Raducanu, who's 22 years of age, faded badly against the Chinese wildcard, losing 3-6, 6-4, 6-1 in 2 hours 26 minutes. She had her blood pressure and vital signs taken during the second set and was given something to eat and drink by the physio. She also had a medical timeout in the third set for treatment on her back, with her movement and service motion visibly hindered from then on. Raducanu retired with illness from the first round of the Wuhan Open last week. She has 2 tournaments left on her schedule this year: the Pan-Pacific Open in Tokyo and the Hong Kong Open. Francis Roy, who has an agreement to coach Raducanu until the end of the season, is not with her in Ningbo. Raducanu has played 50 matches on the WTA Tour this year, the most since her breakthrough US Open triumph in 2021. Raducanu won only 51% of points on her first serve and 38% on her second. She raced into a 3-0 lead and served out the opening set despite 4 breaks of serve in the final 5 games. She and Zhu exchanged breaks early in the second set before Raducanu asked for the physio. She left the court after Zhu forced a decider. For Raducanu, she grabbed at her back early in the third set after running for a forehand, and she made more errors as the match progressed. With victory, Zhu will now face Russian top seed Mira Andreeva in the last 16 on Wednesday. And now to the home front. Nigeria's fine start to the 2025 ITTF African Championships came to an abrupt and disappointing end on Tuesday, as all 10 of the country's representatives in the singles categories were eliminated in a dramatic day of mixed fortunes at the Salle Multidisciplinaire des Raids in Tunisia. Now, what began as a continuation of Monday's perfect run ended in a heavy clear-out that saw even the nation's captain Olajide Omotayo crash out in the round of 16. After recording a flawless 9x9 progression from the opening round, expectations were high for the Nigerian contingent heading into the round of 32. The fixture exposed the gulf between Nigeria's hopefuls and their North African and Central Africa opponents, who demonstrated superior tactical discipline and composure under pressure. Matthew Kuti provided one of the few bright moments as he opened proceedings with a comfortable 4-0 victory over Ivory Coast's Jean-Pierre Bayala. Kuti was dominant from the start, winning 11-7, 11-2, 11-4, 11-8 to book his place in the last 16. Aishat Rabiu's campaign came to a quick end in the women's singles. The 13-year-old fell 4-0 to Madagascar's Hanitra Raharimanana, losing 9-11, 10-12, 8-11, 7-11 in straight games, despite showing flashes of promise in the early exchanges. Her defeat was followed by another blow in the men's draw, where Taiwo Mati, returning to international action after nearly 3 years, was overpowered by Egypt's Badar Mustafa. The Egyptian displayed clinical precision to claim a 4-1 win, 11-6, 10-12, 11-7, 11-8, 11-5, leaving the Nigerian Mati struggling to replicate the rhythm that carried him through the previous round. Abdulbasit Abdul Fattah lost 4-1 to Algeria's Bella Mahidin after a tightly contested start. Abdul Fattah took the opening game 11-9 but failed to build on his early advantage as the Algerian grew stronger, taking the next 4 sets 12-10, 11-9, 11-6, 11-9 to secure passage into the last 16. In the women's division, Ajoke Ojomu, one of Nigeria's brightest hopes, was handed a humbling 4-0 defeat by Algeria's Jade Maurice, who controlled the rallies and dictated tempo throughout the match, winning 14-12, 11-8, 11-6, 11-6. Team captain Omotayo looked to restore some pride later in the day and did so briefly with a commanding 4-0 win over South Africa's Leanne Burks, 11-9, 11-3, 11-6, 11-6 in the round of 32. The victory carried Nigeria's hopes into the afternoon session, but its elimination in the next round capped a disappointing end to the country's singles campaign. Facing Cameroon's Len Baptiste in the round of 16, Omotayo fought valiantly in a match that swung from end to end, but ultimately fell short in a 7-game thriller, losing 3-4 on 11-6, 7-11, 7-11, 11-8, 11-9, 5-11, and 13-15. Now, elsewhere, young Moise Adegoke was brushed aside 4-0 by Benin's Abdel Kader Salifo, 11-3, 11-6, 11-9, 11-5, while Kuti, who had impressed earlier, was stopped in his tracks by Egypt's Mohamed El Baeli. Now, despite a brave effort that saw him, take the second game 11-8, the Nigerian eventually succumbed 4-1 to 11, 11-13, 11-8, 8-11, and 12-14. In the women's draw, Sikurat Ayela Begon and Favor Ojo both reached the round of 16 but could not progress further. Ayela Begon, who had earlier defeated Algeria's Herdel Tagossifi 4-1 in sets of 11-3, 11-7, 9-11, 13-11, and 11-2, was swept aside 4-0 by Africa's top seed Egypt's Anna Goda, 11-4, 11-3, 11-4, 11-2. The Nigerian Ojo, who overcame Cameroon's Lorenza Kolani 4-2 in the round of 32, bowed out after a 4-1 loss to another Egyptian, Farida Badawi, on 5-11, 8-11, 11-3, 8-11, 5-11. So all 10 Nigerians were eliminated before the close of play, meaning the country will have no singles representatives in the quarterfinals for the first time in over a decade. Now the focus shifts to mixed doubles events after also being eliminated in the men's and women's doubles, where Nigeria will hope to salvage some pride and reassert their competitiveness on the continental stage. Not a good one for our table tennis players right there. And now to some football stories. A former Premier League referee Kut has pleaded guilty to making an indecent image of a child. The 43-year-old ex-referee appeared at Nottingham Crown Court over an allegation relating to a Category A video, the most serious kind, recovered by police in February. Nakut from Old Hill Road, Collingham, Nottinghamshire, was granted conditional bail ahead of an appearance on 11 December. Judge Nemershant Casey ordered a pre-sentence report and said Good pleaded guilty to a serious matter. Whether this means custody or not will be decided when all the information is before the court. The court heard Good extracted the video from a hard drive to a laptop on 2nd January 2020. He previously pleaded not guilty to the charge at a hearing on 10 September at Nottingham Magistrates Court. At the 6-minute hearing on Tuesday, Coot spoke only to confirm his name and enter his guilty plea. The charge of making an indecent image of a child refers to activities such as downloading, sharing, or saving photos or videos containing abuse. Coot was sacked last year when comments made in a video about former Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp in 2020 came to light. Also in August this year, he was given an 8-week suspension by the Football Association over the club footage. In addition, the ex-official is also banned by European football's governing body UEFA until the 30th of June 2026 after photographs emerged of him snorting a white powder through a banknote while in Germany for Euro 2024. In January, Kut came out as gay in an interview and said a lifelong struggle to hide his sexuality had contributed to the rant about Klopp. Not a good one for Kut, the referee, and you want to give responsibilities to people who you believe could handle pressure, and this is what we see. Anyway, 6-time CAF African Women's Player of the Year and, of course, 4-time WAFCON champion, Asisat Oshoala, has been named a CAF ambassador, marking another milestone in her illustrious football career. The Confederation of African Football announced, the appointment in a statement released on Tuesday ahead of the CAF Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. CAF Women, in a post on X on Tuesday, wrote, "Welcome, Asisat Oshoala, our new CAF ambassador." The 30-year-old Nigerian international, who currently plays for Al Hilal in the Saudi Women's Premier League, received the honor during a ceremonial event in Rabat, Morocco. Oshoala now joins a select group of CAF ambassadors, a team of celebrated football icons chosen to promote African football, inspire young talents, and of course advocate for social causes such as youth development and gender equality across the continent. Her new ambassadorial role will see her represent CAF at official events, engage with young players through development programs, and promote the Federation's tournaments globally. Still in matters of football, Sweden have sacked their manager, John Dahl Tomasson, following a poor start to their 2026 World Cup qualifying campaign. Now, they are bottom of Group B, talking about Sweden, with 1 point from 4 games following a 1-0 defeat against Kosovo on Monday. Sweden, who have an all-star forward line, the likes of Alexander Isak of Liverpool, and of course Arsenal's Victor Gyökeres, drew with Slovenia, and of course lost against Kosovo and Switzerland in their opening 3 group games. The former Blackburn Rovers manager, who played for Newcastle United during his distinguished career, became Sweden's first foreign coach, external for that matter, when the ex-Denmark striker took over in February 2024. The Swedish Football Association's chairman, Simon Astrom, in a statement said the decision to sack Tomasson is based on the fact the men's national team has not delivered the results hoped for. He said there is still a chance of a playoff in March, and the responsibility is to ensure Sweden have as optimal conditions as possible to be able to reach a World Cup playoff. He further said that a new leadership is required in the form of a new coach. Sweden will travel to play Switzerland, then host Slovenia in the final 2 matches as they try to draw level with second-place Kosovo, who have 7 points in Group B. The winners of the World Cup qualifying groups will fill 12 of the 16 spots available for European nations at next summer's tournament, with the runners-up in each group progressing to the playoffs. They will be joined by the four Best Nations League group winners who failed to finish in the top two of their groups in qualifying. Wales, Romania, Sweden, and Northern Ireland are the four sides currently in the playoff spots as a result of their Nations League performances. All right, TVM's Sports will return after the break. And when we come back, we'll look at the stories of the World Cup qualifying. Stay with us.
TVM. TVM delivers breaking stories, global headlines, and the moments that matter. From exciting sports action to exclusive local events, we keep you connected. Celebrate our culture, people, and voices with powerful documentaries and inspiring stories. Experience premium entertainment, from trending music to urban lifestyle and beyond. Grow your spirit with life-changing messages and uplifting perspectives. Lead the way with bold conversations, fresh ideas, and thought-provoking shows. Wherever you are, whenever you want, watch TVM on all your devices. TVM, your world, your network.
All right, welcome back from that break. Let's go into the World Cup qualifying series. Let's start off from England's perspective because Harry Kane scored twice as England secured qualification for the 2026 World Cup after 0 thrashing of Latvia on Tuesday. Anthony Gordon opened the scoring in Riga before Kane took his tally for club and country this season to 21 goals in 13 games. Maxims Tunisev's own goal and Eberechi Eze's strike rounded off the scoring as the Three Lions guaranteed top spot in Group K of UEFA qualifying with 2 games to spare. Kane had uncharacteristically missed a glorious early chance when instead Gordon crossed wide. The Bayern Munich striker soon found his range with 2 goals in 4 minutes at the end of the first half to take his international tally to 76 in 110 caps. The fourth goal was a self-inflicted blow by Latvia as the ball looped into his own net off Tunisev's after goalkeeper Christianis Zviedris failed to connect with Jed Spence's cross. Eze was one of those introduced after the break, and the Arsenal playmaker rounded off the scoring with a fine run and finish on 86 minutes. England have not failed to qualify for a World Cup since it was last in the USA back in 1994. They have won all 6 of their qualifiers since the German Tuchel took charge, scoring 18 goals without conceding. After a slow start to Tuchel's reign, with unconvincing victories over Albania and Andorra, plus a friendly defeat to Senegal in June, England have clicked into gear over the past 2 international breaks. Now, talking about teams who have qualified, Qatar qualified for the 2026 World Cup on Tuesday after they saw off the United Arab Emirates 2-1 in Doha. The 2022 World Cup hosts, who did not make it out of the group stage 3 years ago in their first ever appearance at the tournament, triumphed over in the must-win clash at the Jassim bin Ahmad Stadium thanks to second-half goals from captain Boalem Koki and Pedro Miguel. Akram Afif, the two-time Asian Player of the Year, got both assists. The win meant Qatar, winners of the past two Asian Cups, finished top of Group A in the fourth round of Asian qualification and therefore booked their place in next summer's finals in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The UAE, who needed only a draw to progress to a second World Cup in their history, will next month meet the loser of the Group B decider between Saudi Arabia and Iraq in a two-legged tie, with the winner going into an intercontinental playoff. The Saudis host Iraq in Jeddah later on Tuesday, where they also had require only a draw to advance. I think that game was played yesterday as well. Now, talking about those who have qualified and those who are still struggling, but one man is continues headlining sporting stories, talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, who scored twice and, of course, set a new goal-scoring record. But his side, going back to Portugal, could only draw against Hungary. They now missed the chance to qualify for the 2026 World Cup automatically. Ronaldo, who is 40 years of age, has now scored 41 goals in World Cup qualifying to move clear of the previous record holder, former Guatemala striker Carlos Ruiz, who got 39 qualifying goals in his career. Portugal were minutes away from securing their spot in next summer's tournament in Canada, Mexico, and the United States. However, in the 91st minute, Liverpool midfielder Dominic Szoboszlai grabbed an equalizer to deny Portugal the win they needed, although they still hold a 5-point lead at the top of Group F with 2 matches to go. Portugal's next chance to qualify comes on November 13 when they play the Republic of Ireland in Dublin. Hungary took an 8-minute lead goal from Attila Zalia after he was set up by Szoboszlai. But Ronaldo put Portugal level in the 22nd minute from 6 yards when he connected with Nelson Semedo's low cross from the right. Ronaldo then made it his 948th goal of his career and his 143rd international goal just before halftime, with a composed finish following Nuno Mendes' delivery. However, Szoboszlai's late equalizer kept Hungary's hopes of winning the group alive. Hungary remained second in Group F and just 1 point ahead of the Republic of Ireland, who beat Armenia 1-0 in Dublin. Now, we can look at the European results that we saw yesterday, where, like we talked about, some very interesting results for Portugal. They should have qualified yesterday if they had won that particular game. But as it is, they will have to wait till next month to get, the ticket to the World Cup. If we can have the results on the screen. Okay, so for yesterday, we saw Spain. That's on the 14th of October. That was yesterday. We saw Spain, thrashing Bulgaria by 4-0. And of course, Turkey defeated Georgia also by 4-1. That game coming from Group E. And in Group F, we had, like I said earlier on, Portugal and Hungary playing out a 2-2 draw. And in the other game, in Group F, it was Republic of Ireland 1, Armenia 1. And then in Group I, we also saw Estonia and Moldova playing out to a 1-1 draw, while Italy defeated Israel by 3-0. In Group K, it was Serbia who went away at Andorra, defeating Andorra by 3-1. And then the story we shared with you earlier on, England going away at Latvia to defeat Latvia by 5-0. So these were the results that we monitored yesterday. And like we said, fixtures will be coming up. Another international window for football, as it were, for the qualifiers will come up next month on the 13th of November. All right, now still talking about qualifiers, and of course, what happened yesterday, Cote d'Ivoire from the African zone and Senegal claimed automatic qualifying spots for the 2026 FIFA World Cup as both sides registered victories on Tuesday. For Senegal, they claimed a 4-0 home win over Mauritania to secure first place in Group B. A Sadio Mane free kick put the hosts ahead in the stroke of halftime, and the former Liverpool forward, who plays now in Saudi, by the way, slotted in his second before Lilman Ndiaye added a fine solo effort, and Habib Diallo rounded off the scoring later on. The Teranga Lions finished the campaign 2 points ahead of DR Congo, who beat Sudan by a lone goal thanks to Theo Bongolda's first half strike. Now, elsewhere, Frank Kessie gave Ivory Coast an early lead against Kenya in Group F. And of course, teenager Yan Diomande fired in to double the lead after the break. For Manchester United's Ahmad Diallo, well, he called in a fine free kick to give the Elephants a 3-0 victory in Abidjan. That result meant the reigning continental champions finished a point ahead of Gabon, who saw off Burundi 2 goals to nothing in Franceville after late goals from Brian Mayo and Mario Lemina. Cote d'Ivoire went through the entire 10-game group campaign without conceding a goal, one of 2 nations on the continent to do so. The other team, Tunisia. So Senegal and Cote d'Ivoire joined Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, Algeria, Ghana, Cape Verde, and South Africa in booking their tickets to next year's World Cup finals. One more side, the winners of next month's continental playoffs, could join that group if they emerge from an inter-confederation tournament in March next year. Cameroon, DR Congo, Gabon, and Nigeria finished as the 4 best-ranked second-placed sides across the 9 groups. And one of those sides will have the chance to become Africa's 10th representative at the expanded 48-team World Cup in Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Now, still talking about those qualified, like we mentioned earlier on, counted some of the countries that have qualified. South Africa, well, they will return to the FIFA World Cup for the first time since hosting the tournament, yes, in 2010, after narrowly, claiming top spots in their qualifying group ahead of Nigeria and Benin. Now, Benin, chasing a maiden World Cup appearance, started the last group of matches at the summit of Group C, 2 points ahead of South Africa and 3 in front of Nigeria. Benin fell to a 4-0 defeat away in Uyo, Nigeria, with Victor Osimhen grabbing a hat-trick for the hosts, a result that saw the Cheetahs slip to third below their opponents on goal difference. And of course, that opened the door to the South Africans, and Bafana capitalized as they eased to a 3-0 home win over Rwanda. Talente Mbata fired home in the 5th minute. Also, Napoli swept in a second midway through the first half, and then Evidence Makoba headed in the third in the 72nd minute in Mbobela. So the 9 teams have been confirmed from CAF's World Cup qualifying. They are, like we said earlier on, Cape Verde, Egypt, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Morocco, Senegal, South Africa, and of course Tunisia. These are the teams that will be representing Africa in the World Cup next year in the USA, Canada, and Mexico. And there'll be enough time for playoffs to see if a 10th team can join. All right, still talking about Nigeria qualifying for the playoffs, but Victor Osimhen's hat trick and of course a Frank Onyeka strike, did us proud. Well, these are the teams participating in the playoffs. If we can get them, yes, on the screen. These are the teams participating in the playoffs: Gabon, Democratic Republic of Congo, Cameroon, and of course Nigeria. So these are the teams that will be going for the playoffs. If we can take our 14th story, if we can go to our 14th story so that we can do our analysis now. But so far so good. This is how it is. I would have discussed the Super Eagles game yesterday, but all that ginger is gone as far as South Africa took the sole ticket. Yeah, Nigeria won by 4 goals to nothing. No doubt about that one. But let's look at the playoffs, and we will look at how these teams qualified for the playoffs. Now, Nigeria's Super Eagles will take on Gabon in the semi-finals of the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying playoffs. The game will take place on Thursday, 13 November 2025 in Morocco. Gabon on 25 points, placed second behind AFCON champions Cote d'Ivoire, who had 26 points in Group F. If the Super Eagles, defeat Gabon, they will face the winner of the second semi-final between Cameroon and the Democratic Republic of Congo in the final on Sunday, 16 November. Now, the team that win in the final will represent Africa at Intercontinental Playoffs that is built for March 2026 in North America. Reportedly, we've been told there will be 2 cities in Mexico that will be hosting that Intercontinental Playoffs. So the Super Eagles sealed their place in the playoffs after finishing as one of the 4 second best placed teams. Now, going into their final Group C match day 10 encounter with Benin Republic on Tuesday in New York, well, the Super Eagles needed to win by a wide margin to stand a chance of making it to the playoffs. And the race to make it to the playoffs became important for the Super Eagles after they lost the Group C top spot to South Africa's Bafana, who, by the way, destroyed Rwanda by 3 goals to 0 to make a first World Cup appearance since 2010. Hat-trick from Victor Osimhen, and of course a stoppage time strike by Frank Onyeka secured a comfortable 4-0 win against the Benin Republic. The playoff, like we said, tournament involving 6 teams, 1 each from Asia, CAF, CONMEBOL, and of course Oceania, and 2 from CONCACAF will be held to decide the last 2 FIFA World Cup berths. Now, the bottom 4 teams in the FIFA World Rankings will be drawn into 2 single elimination matches. The winners of those matches will then advance to play the top 2 teams in 2 single elimination matches, and then the winners will qualify for the World Cup. Now, I'll do the explanation before we call it a wrap. Okay, so if we can get the ranking of the CAF ranking for African teams in the World Cup on the screen, if we can. But if we cannot, I think I can just go and start discussing it myself. But from what it is, I just wanted us to, excuse me, look at the rundown of the table, the different tables in for Africa, the qualifying series, and see how the teams, finished after match day 10. You can see from Group A, we have Burkina Faso, Egypt. I beg your pardon, Egypt, topped it, and Burkina Faso are on second right there, with 21 points. Okay, let's go to Group B because I just want us to see the second place teams in each of the groups. In Group B, the second place team there is DR Congo. And Group C, it is, of course, Super Eagles of Nigeria with 17 points. In Group D, it is Cameroon with 19 points. In Group E, this is the group that, brought about how Nigeria qualified, made it into the playoff spots. Because Eritrea, if you look at the number 6 team there, no game played, no points, nothing. And so this is where the bone of contention came from, and they call it the Eritrea rule. This is where it came from, so I'll explain later. So Niger Republic is on second position with 15 points. Take note. We'll come back to do the mathematics. Let's go to Group F. In Group F, we have Gabon, who placed second on 25 points, Group G. And in Group G, we have Uganda, placed second in this group with 18 points. Group H, we have Namibia as the second placed team with 15 points. And then Group I, we have Madagascar as the second placed team in with 19 points. Now, the Eritrea rule, because Eritrea did not play, they say Niger Republic and some other teams are saying that that was like an easy passage for the team. I think it was Morocco that qualified from that particular group. So what CAF and FIFA now did was that for every team that qualified, that placed second in every other groups, what will now happen is that the last team in each group, points won by the second placed team. I want you to understand this. For instance, this is Group I. Madagascar is the second placed team. The last placed team, the bottom placed team there is Chad. So the rule is saying that for us to know if Madagascar will make the playoffs, remember the playoffs teams are 4 from a group of 9. So the rule is saying that if we want to know if Madagascar will qualify, the games they played, home and away basis, that they played against Chad, if Madagascar defeated Chad home and away, that's 6 points. 6 points will now be deducted from Madagascar's 19 points, and that will give you 13 points. Now, when they give you, how will I put it now? Those kind of situation, it's just like a walkover situation. You will now be, deducted. You will now be taking 6 goals will now be taken from your number of goals. Okay, this is where where we were saying while the game was going on, between Nigeria and Benin Republic, the feelers were that Nigeria should score at least 4 unreplied goals. 4 unreplied goals, because if it had ended 3 goals, maybe, just maybe, Nigeria would have missed out. So this is where the mathematics came from, that we needed at least 4 goals. 4 goals. So in that particular example I was given now, that is exactly what will go down with the other second place teams and the bottom place team. In the case of Nigeria, the bottom place team, let's see, Group C, the bottom place team was Zimbabwe. Now, you look at the result, because we have 17 points between Nigeria and Benin Republic. First off, goals difference, Nigeria has a better goals difference now against Benin Republic. So they were not looking at the performances between Nigeria and Zimbabwe, Benin and Zimbabwe. Now, Benin Republic defeated Zimbabwe home and away. But Nigeria, and if you take that into consideration, that's 6 points. Take 6 points away from 17, you have 11 points. So Benin will now fall back to 11 points. For Nigeria, they struggled against Zimbabwe. Both legs, Nigeria played a draw. Both legs, draw. So that's 2 points. You minus 2 points from 17, Nigeria will be at 15 points. That's the reason why Benin Republic did not go, even if they had a superior goals difference against Nigeria by now. That was what happened. And so it went to the other groups. And when you check the other groups, even the Niger Republic that were trying to make noise, at the end of the day, they fell short. And so that was how we were able to get the 4, we want to say, should I say quarterfinalists now? Or no, semi-finalists, because it's a semi-final kind of outing we are going into, So that's where we have Gabon, Nigeria, Cameroon, and who's there again? Burkina Faso, yeah. So Burkina Faso will take on Cameroon, while Nigeria will take on Gabon. Now, I heard people saying that, it's going to be easy for Nigeria. It's going to be a game of two strikers fighting against each other. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is the lead goal scorer for Gabon, and he scored 4 goals in their last game where he was sent off. A game before their last, he scored the 4 goals against the team they played. I think that game ended 4-3. He single-handedly scored the 4 goals in that game. So it's Aubameyang versus Osimhen on the 13th of November. A winner in that game will meet the winner between Cameroon and Burkina Faso. And you could see that these are all West African countries by my calculation, if I'm not mistaken. So just to let you know that the West African teams are really, really struggling when it comes to football right now. But so I just wanted people to understand. I wanted you out there to understand how we came about the 4 teams as the 4 best placed second teams. So this is the calculation. Like we said from the beginning, before we met Benin Republic, we said the Super Eagles of Nigeria has made us to carry our Casio calculators around. For those who were not good mathematicians in their time in school, they became one because of the Super Eagles. And they will continue to become mathematicians because next month we produce another calculation. We'll need to win, this time outright win. If you lose, you are out of the World Cup proper. All right, so once again, congratulations to all the 9 African teams that have qualified for the World Cup in USA, Canada, and Mexico next year. And this is hoping. It's a long route, but if the Nigerian Football Federation puts their acts together, I don't see any team that will be able to stop the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Judging from what we saw in Uyo yesterday, that kind of ginger, I don't know where that came from. I don't know who talked to them. I don't know who encouraged them. I don't know who spoke to them that they came out smoky yesterday. You could also see from the coach's input, I don't want to start bringing some theories, but I am sensing that for once, the coach stood his ground. And that team that we saw, especially in the first half, was the coach's team. We keep saying this. Sports analysts, football lovers, football fans in Nigeria, we keep saying this. Allow the coaches to do their jobs. Allow them to pick their players. And moving forward, we could see that there are some players who really do not want to come to the Super Eagles camp. The Super Eagles. Let's stop inviting those kind of players, please. All right, this is where I'll have to stop now because, like I said before today, and before we met Benin Republic, I said I'm waiting. When Nigeria will not qualify, then you will see the other side of me. You would have seen the other side of me, but I'm smiling because there is now a backyard for the Super Eagles to qualify. I will wait. If Nigeria cannot get a ticket from Africa as a playoff winner, that is when you see the other side of me, and I'll be facing the NFF. On a lighter note, let's not get serious. Let's pack it up now. Let's pack it up now, and this is where I draw the curtain. And that's all from TVM's Metro Sports today. I am Fred O'Neill. You can also watch us on the go on TVM's app, accessible on Android Play Store, and of course on Apple Store. Follow us and interact with our social media pages. Like, subscribe, and of course share. And remember, your environment is a part of you. Do well to keep it clean.
Win
This is TVM. TVM delivers breaking stories, global headlines, and the moments that matter. From exciting sports action to exclusive local events, we keep you connected. Celebrate our culture, people, and voices with powerful documentaries and inspiring stories. Experience premium entertainment, from trending music to urban lifestyle and beyond. Grow your spirit with life-changing messages and uplifting perspectives. Lead the way with bold conversations, fresh ideas, and thought-provoking shows. Wherever you are, whenever you want, watch TVM on all your devices. TVM, your world, your network. This is TVM. TVM delivers breaking stories, global headlines, and the moments that matter. From exciting sports action to exclusive local events, we keep you connected. Celebrate our culture, people, and voices with powerful documentaries and inspiring stories. Experience premium entertainment, from trending music to urban lifestyle and beyond. Grow your spirit with life-changing messages and uplifting perspectives. Lead the way with bold conversations, fresh ideas, and thought-provoking shows. Wherever you are, whenever you want, watch TVM on all your devices. TVM, your world, your network. This is TVM. TVM delivers breaking stories, global headlines, and the moments that matter. From exciting sports action